was enough. I remember listening to songs of the sun for all of
indigenous cultural heritage. Our history as indigenous people is kept in these boxes. Our sacred objects remains, and this meeting that's happening here today, Peabody Coal Company, Navajo Generating Station, SRP, they're all complicit in wanting to further the desecration of our burial sites. And so this process is unfortunately something that can't continue without healing the legacy and the wounds that have existed within the past. So our ancestors to be kept in storage boxes like this is unacceptable. I don't think anybody would tolerate that.
Electricity being is much holier than the four sacred mountains that we have. We have Mount Blanca, Mount Taylor, and this one right there. The San Francisco Peaks, Togo Sleet, and this is the Benza, Mount Hesperus in Colorado. And it's a commodification of the sacred. What used to be sacred is now no longer. As our children become assimilated and acculturated, we're losing sight of who we are.
Who drafts the Programmatic Agmt? Well, in this case, the Bureau of Reclamation is the lead federal agency for NEPA, and it is also the lead federal agency for the Section 106 process. Other federal agencies involved too, including Office of Surface Mining, Bureau of Indian Affairs, and U.S. Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, National Park Service. Tribes will be involved too, the Hopi tribe, the Navajo Nation, the Wallapai, the Zuni. We may have other state agencies, the State Historic Preservation Offices in Arizona, Utah, Nevada. Peabody Western will be involved, SRP.
My group, the village that I represent, don't have a representative on council.
Do not?
No. Yeah. We are the traditional village of Fort Bello, and I'm one of the practitioners at that place. So we do not have representation, and at times we get totally neglected, by our own council. This has happened before.
So the important thing that we need to have here today is meaningful public involvement in the process, especially with stakeholders, either people from Black Mesa or spiritual or traditional practitioners. Their voice needs to be heard in this process, and it needs to be meaningful. Just yesterday, I found out that this meeting was open to the public, and that's why we're here protesting today, because initially we weren't invited to be even part of the process. But how meaningful is that if they give us one day notice to be involved in a meeting that is going to impact not only our history as indigenous people, but our future and our ancestors' remains? Are they going to end up in storage boxes like this again? That's unacceptable.
So it's the role of the consulting parties to provide advice to the federal agency, but that's their only role. They can't stop the project, and they can't tell the agency what to do. Yes, sir.
Okay, so in this instance, then the non-agency people like myself, I'm not council or anything like that. The other thing that I have a problem with is agencies like yourselves deal with only other government agencies, which rules me out. And this is not fair, because I'm the one directly involved with the pilgrimages to the shrines that's in the area.
Right.
And the people that are in council don't have those privileges. They do the American thing, the crooked politics.
The problem is that the federal agency, Reclamation in this case, has a responsibility to consult on a government-to-government basis with Hopi and with Navajo. Yes. And so they do that through your chairman's office. And so, that's the official point of contact.
Okay, I have one statement in reference to your timeline.
Yes.
I'm a taxpayer. All right, and look how many of you are here. You are accumulating a huge amount of expense that I'm paying for as a taxpayer.
What do you believe are the potential effects Black Mesa? You know, we got laws on top of laws and laws and more laws in this country.
Yes.
It seems that the reservation area, as far as people are concerned, it's all right to pollute the reservation area.
So let me ask you, this programmatic agreement, I didn't see here you say anything about air quality. Is it just cultural?
Yeah, it's just cultural, so that the programmatic agreement won't address this issue.
Our cultural connection to those sites, they shouldn't be destroyed or even disturbed. Because once you disturb a site like that, there's no reclaiming it.
Yes.
It's virtually impossible. Once destroyed, it's gone forever.
It's
very destructive to the cultures of this.
I understand that. The essence of the National Historic Preservation Act, right, and the conceptual driver of Section 106 is that federal agencies have to strike a balance between meeting the needs of the citizens of the United States, in this case to provide water and power, versus their responsibility to protect and to preserve cultural resources. But again, this is the nature of the law, and this is the process that we have to follow. So we're starting 5 years in advance of the
I'd like to know what the qualifications are for being an American citizen.
Those novels in the big mountain area, when the snow comes, they can't get out of there. The buses can't go in, the kids miss many days of school. They have to find rides to go to the post office in my village, 15 miles, to get their mail. And the mailman comes to your house and drop it in your kitchen.
Right.
So
I
they,
see that.
5, 6 years old, still in the same status that I was. No schools, no community development. And they have to go long ways to go to school. And that's unacceptable, especially by coal company and a generating station that profit in the billions. And you say they're gonna, how do we resolve this? They haven't been resolved for over 45 years.
And all that electricity is exported. None comes back to us at all. And I just want the government, the energy companies, and the people to wake up to what's happening. Relocation is still going on. The Indian wars are still happening. And we want the American public to know that this is happening in their backyard. The Relocation Office is still in operation here in Flagstaff.
It's very important for everyone who's concerned about indigenous cultural heritage, or even just the basic sort of moral understanding of why indigenous remains or any burial site should not be desecrated, to be involved in this process now. And so the federal government is required to listen to the concerns of the people, and so we need to come together and voice our concerns that this proposed expanded desecration of our burial sites needs to be addressed and needs to be stopped, and we need to repatriate the remains that are currently being held in cardboard boxes and storage lockers.
water should be treated as cultural property.
Because archaeology is a bit racist, and they still consider us primitive, savages, and barbaric people. That's basically what they're doing. This is how they're viewing us, and the attitudes that is there. And these attitudes are institutionalized. And so these are threats that we face as indigenous people and nothing.
But a lot of people that were relocated went against their will. They were offered monetary benefits, money, and bonuses, sign-up bonuses, and so on. And they relocated. They said, we'll provide you a brand new house, or a house that has running water, electricity, etc., etc. They didn't tell them about property tax that they had to pay for, and utilities. costs on a monthly basis.
I think a lot of the threat is that currently our indigenous people are turning to modernization, the modern trends, and forgetting about the traditional way of living and the sustainable way of living before. And
when I was a young kid, I was a medicine man in training with my grandfather. And there was a site that he used for his ceremonial purposes. And since Peabody destroyed that site, I never did complete the training process with my grandfather. And he passed on shortly thereafter. So I never did become a medicine because the cultural principle and values are broken. And once you don't reclaim that, there's no award-winning reclamation program that's going to change that or fix that. It's really a campaign of genocide is what happens.
This is a sacred site. There's a lot of effects that the mine will have and have had. Just one of the things that was alluded to was the ceremonials are disappearing. And that's a direct result of the mine in operation where it is. Our sacred sites have been desecrated.
But there is a solution, but nobody wants to take us seriously.
And the crown, yeah. Now the mines they abandoned. Tell